Did you feel competent when you came to work as a doctor straight out of uni?
Is that?
And then, I don't know, I woke up one day, I was like, nah. I was like, no.
Would you go back to China to further your studies?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Natalie Caitlin and my channel name is TheStylishMed. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new here, please do subscribe to my channel and join the family. Today I have a special guest with me. I'm so excited. Yeah, she can introduce herself.
Okay, hey guys, my name is Dr. Aone Ditirwa. Some people call me Yoni, and that's fine. Thank you, Natalie, for having me.
Thank you for coming. So she has her own YouTube channel and she's a fellow, what can I say, like a, what do they call it for that study in China?
Chinese medics? I don't
know.
Chinese.
But anyway,
China trained.
Yeah, but she's a doctor doing her internship here in Botswana and she has her own YouTube channel. So you guys should definitely go and check that out and subscribe and tell her I sent you. Yeah. Okay, so today I decided we'll do the differences between studying medicine in China, but like in English and in Chinese, because you guys already know that if you go to China, you can either study in English or in Chinese, and she studied in Chinese, and I studied in English. So we're just gonna get into it. I have questions that I've been collecting for a while now. You guys typically ask me different questions, and I also compiled some from my Instagram, and so I just put that all together and we'll discuss that now. So I think this might be the major difference, I mean, apart from the language of instruction, but the duration of the program and the outline.
Yes, so we have so we need to be done in 6 years, and then one of those years is like,
really?
Yeah, is it 5 or 6?
I thought you guys were 5 years.
Yes, 5 years. Sorry, 5 years of everything.
Medicine.
No. We have a year of language, and then we have 5 years of everything. Is it 5 years of everything else? So then I was in China for 6 years. So you start your first year in September, and then you finish July the following year, and that's strictly just Mandarin. Right?
Okay.
And then you take your little summer break, and then you come back in September and start medicine from semester 0, from semester 1.
Okay. So this year that you're doing the language, is it basic like Chinese language, or is it Chinese medicine, or is it medical Chinese, or how is it set up?
It's just Chinese. Like, I don't know if you studied for HSK, where you're doing like Dawei, Mali, that stuff, like asking me Elisha's questions, those basic. That's where we start, like strictly Chinese, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, just Chinese. And it's just an accelerated program to prepare for HSK. And then the last 2 months, that's when you start doing a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of math, and then a little bit of medical Chinese, but you still have more of that in your actual medical program. Yeah, but it's just the basics, and then they make you like write an exam that doesn't really, you never even get the results. It's just to prepare us. Yeah.
Okay. Which brings me to another question that was asked, HSK, because for us that studied in English, some universities require you to do the HSK exam, and some of them say HSK 4, some say 5, some say 2. It just depends on the university. But for you guys, was it like you had to do HSK, or you just had to? Okay,
so because it's a Chinese scholarship program, right? One of the main ideas is to make sure that people from these different countries that have some sort of a relationship with China are able to speak fluent Mandarin. So it's mandatory that you actually pass HSK 4. And as you're saying, some HSK 4 is the minimum that you need to pass, like for all the universities. But some universities, I remember Capital Medical University wanted their students to do HSK 5. Oh, okay. Yeah, we just have to do 4. But they do by 6 months we're done preparing for HSK 4.
Oh, okay.
And then we're given the option to attempt HSK 5, but it's not a must. Some people do it, some people don't. I don't bother.
So you do this exam before you start medicine?
Yes,
and then you get, okay.
It's actually like a preliminary, so if you
don't pass, you can't start.
You can either repeat, if you're lucky, if the government allows you, you can repeat and make sure you pass your HSK, or that's it for some people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
What
And I feel
about
like this is,
What about you?
we didn't, we, in my university, we had to do HSK, but it wasn't for like admission into the program or anything. It was a requirement before you graduate.
Right.
So my university, for example, if you haven't done HSK or you haven't passed or some, I don't know, whatever's going on,
do it back.
you have to do it, and if you don't, you finish your courses, and you don't get your degree. You get a certificate of completion or something of that sort.
Okay. Okay.
But other universities don't have any HSK requirements, which is, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah.
I feel like if you're going to go to China, I mean, I think everything, it's good to learn stuff and just be confident, but I think it's even better if you can be, if your level can be quantified.
Yeah,
if you can actually go through like some sort of an exam and have something down
that shows that you. That's so true, because I don't know if you know, but I spent some time in Ukraine before I went to China, and I did
Which
Russian.
We'll speak about soon.
Yeah. So I did Russian and all, and my Russian was very good, but I had nothing to show for it because there was no like proficiency exam.
Yeah, I
or anything.
understand.
Whereas in China, I actually sat like and wrote an exam, and now I have a certificate to prove that I have this qualification in the language.
Right,
so
yeah.
Okay, so you've already answered a lot of these questions that were asked differently about the language, but people want to know, do the teachers speak English at all? Like when you're learning, is it strictly Chinese? And do they, because considering you would be the minority in the class, would they?
Okay, this is what happened in our university, right? Initially, they threw us into like a class of 90 other Chinese, and there was like, I think when we started there was 20 foreign students, but we were not coping at all. So what we did is we just decided to stand in solidarity, and we came together, wrote like a little letter thing, and then we went to not management, but like school admin, and we just explained that, listen, this is not practical for us. We're fresh out of like Mandarin classes, and it wasn't even Mandarin for medicine, it was really just
basic.
Exactly. So we asked if we could have a class of our own, and we got the inspiration from our seniors because that's what they did. So we got that for the first 2 years of med school. So we're in a class by ourselves, but the classes were still in full Mandarin. But the advantage with that is that the pace was slightly slower.
So when you don't understand,
you can ask, you can stop the teacher, which you would never be able to do in
class
because like the lecture is moving at lightning speed. So we were able to like, they started us off pretty gradually. We're able to ask questions, liaise with each other as classmates and stuff. So in that setting, they would try to speak a little bit of English. Generally, Chinese like to be seen that they can speak English. It's like it gives them pride or whatever. So they would put in an effort, especially when we don't understand. But even then, the English wouldn't be easy to understand. So, but 90% of the time it's all Chinese. But there was here and there they would try a little bit of English.
For us, it was English, right? But you obviously have, different levels and, I don't know how to say, like levels of English, but you have those professors and teachers that studied abroad, studied in the UK, studied in the US. So obviously they understand and speak better English than those that have just been in China
the whole time.
And then we also had those that, even though they were supposed to be teaching us in English, they couldn't speak English. So they'd come literally with a PPT that's in Chinese. And just, I don't know what they expected us to do, and they just speak Chinese. And it's crazy. And it was unfair for us because we're here to be learning in English. If we wanted to learn in Chinese, we would have gone
gosh.
And so it's one of those things.
I'm curious. What about those who actually speak good English? Is it actually understandable?
There's people whose accents are better than mine, better than a lot of people. People who speak better English than us, and then there's those that obviously, English is not very good, but
Yeah.
if they speak slowly and
You can
repeat
grasp.
like a few times, you can get what they're saying.
Do you feel like the lecturers had crammed the PPTs?
Yes.
Because I had a feeling.
I feel like to some extent, yeah,
Mm.
because they tend to come with, you know, this is my work, this is what I'm gonna say,
Mm.
and they're not prepared for if someone has a question
Right,
or
that's
if
what I
someone,
thought.
you know, drifts away from
Mm.
the main topic at hand, then they kind of struggle. But for the most part, they managed to explain to
Okay.
the best of their ability, I guess.
How much did you grasp from class and how much did you grasp from individual studying? If you're supposed to put in percentages.
I feel like that's a very difficult question because honestly, no course was the same
Mm.
and no teacher for the same course was the same either.
Mm.
Obviously, for example, for me, I felt like my peds was just a mess because
Mm.
that's the course where I felt like most of the teachers didn't really speak like good English
Mm.
and they weren't really good teachers as well. So imagine you're not a good teacher and then also you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the one that I really had to do it myself. And then whereas things like surgery, I felt like they were really good teachers.
Mhm.
And even the ones that didn't like really speak English, they would draw diagrams. They would make an effort
Make sure
to
you
make sure you
understand.
understand.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm.
And medicine was the same, gynae was the same. It's the earlier years where you have like the biochemistries, microbiologies, where I felt like here things were shaky, like especially like with the, you know, those like
Yes.
those like foundation courses where you really have to. I felt like that's where they were lacking the most, and
Okay.
so it wasn't really a problem at the time because you know you just study for the exam, you pass, you move on.
exactly.
But then it hits you now when you're doing
Yeah.
medicine and surgery and all these
When
things.
things are supposed to be tied
Exactly,
together.
when you're trying to bring these things together and now things are not making sense.
Mhm.
And so you have to take yourself
All the
back
way
and
back,
start
right.
learning the physiology,
Right.
the pathology, and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
So, do you write your exams and your homework in Chinese as well? So like characters and everything.
Yes.
Wow.
So your assignments will be in Chinese. Everything from like your practicals to because sometimes we used to have those lab reports that we had to write, so that would be Mandarin.
Wow.
Questions would be in Mandarin. Your exam will be in Mandarin. But I'll be honest, like sometimes if you're really stuck, what you could do is you could just slot in some English.
Oh, okay.
So what they used to tell us is just don't make it like overwhelming, don't make it all English. But if you really find yourself stuck, you can't write a character or you don't know how to best express something, but you really know that you know it, you can just squeeze in some English and they will understand.
That's good.
Yeah.
At least they understand that
Yes,
you guys
yes.
aren't okay. Because I always assumed like you chose to do it in Chinese, so stick it up and get through with it.
Some of them will be very strict and they'll be like, these are the rules, the admin won't be happy, blah blah, so you have to write everything in Mandarin. But sometimes, for example, if it's a genuine thing of like characters, like maybe you forgot how to write a character or you don't know what a specific character means, you can actually ask and they'll explain that it's in this context.
That's nice then.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it wasn't, we were thrown in the deep end, but they tried.
They were lenient enough to let you
they were
guys-
trying to make it,
And your classmates, the Chinese classmates, how were they towards you guys? Were they receptive, helpful, or were they just like one of these ones doing in our class?
To be to be fair, and I spoke a little bit about this in a video I filmed earlier, I think it was also us. Like a lot of the foreign students really just lived in their own little bubble. Because some of us, like we had a few people in the class who were very open-minded and they got along with the Chinese. They come exam time used to do a little bit better because they had help, they knew what was going on. Even if you miss class, you have somebody you can call and be like, what did we do today? Whereas the rest of us just sort of secluded ourselves and we're just always in different worlds. The Chinese would be there, we'd be there, no interaction. So yeah, that was something that I think we could have done better. But so because of that, they also didn't pay too much attention to us. Yeah.
Alright. What just happened? Okay, so what was the basic course outline and structure? For example, for us, isn't we have the 5 years of strict school and then the 1 year of internship, of which the first 5 years, the first 2 years you're doing the sciences like chemistry, biochem, histology, anatomy, and then you start doing your pathophysiologies and then from fourth year, that's where you start doing your medicine, surgery, peds, gynae.
It's exactly the same. Just that some of the stuff we do earlier and quicker. So I remember, I don't know if it was anatomy or regional anatomy. No, there was yeah. One of them, I know the English group did it in 2 semesters. We did it in 1 because we had to be done in 3 years, and you guys have to be done in 4 years, I think, including, I'm not sure, but I know we're always a year. We'd always graduate with people that we found. Yeah. So we would have to finish quicker. So some stuff would really squeeze into like 1 little semester and move really, really quickly. And then but essentially the outline is pretty much the same. So we start with your microbiome, blah blah blah, biochem. Then we move on to like immunology, physiology,
we always assumed that you guys, being the Chinese group and all, you guys had more exposure and better access to like the doctors and the patients and everything.
Okay.
I don't know, because
yeah, fair enough. Because I'm thinking back to when I was doing my internship. Some English medium students would opt to stay in China and do the internship in China. And comparatively, looking at that, we did always have an upper hand because we were able to communicate a little bit better with the patients, with the doctors, write and stuff. Whereas the English medium folks would be a little bit more left behind in that aspect. But generally, looking at just us within the Chinese group, we didn't get that much out of it. Chinese students would be in the front line and they'd push more. They would like have better contacts and better relationships with the doctors, such that they would be called back maybe on weekends to
really?
Yeah, and that's something that we were never considered for.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know why. I just assumed that you guys would be, because you guys were like the strong ones doing it in Chinese, and so they'd be part of that and would want to teach you guys more and all. Because we had in our classes, right? Obviously the teachers would be impressed if you can speak Chinese and all that. So when we go to the hospital, for example, like they'd ask, okay, who can speak Chinese? You come and talk to the patients,
right?
etc.
Right.
And then sometimes would actually be able to, for example, I used to do this. I would some of the courses, for example, in surgery, like I did that a lot. I would ask the teachers, can I come during the holiday or during the weekend? Can I, or after class, can I come when I'm free and you show me around, or I just see your patients with you and all that, part of the surgeries. And they were impressed by that, but they didn't want it to be like their problem. Like now they have to start explaining things in English and all that. So if you can speak Chinese, you are better off in our classes.
Yeah. To some extent, I think it also had to do with like the individual, because I can tell that you were putting yourself out there.
Okay, yeah, true.
So maybe it was just a thing of maybe not going the extra mile.
Okay, maybe. All right. How would you, I don't know, kind of like compare the practical teaching that you got with your group in comparison to back home or with the rest of the world?
It was no practical experience in China.
Really?
Yes. The most.
What are you telling me right now? I came here today thinking, yes, these guys, they knew their stuff, they had all the access, because we didn't.
Really? Girl. Okay, so the most we learned or got any form of like hands-on experience was in surgery. And I was just telling my studies the other day that was only because the patient was knocked out. Yeah. But like any other time, the patients wouldn't let you touch them. The most you could do was maybe get BP, like get vitals.
Really?
Yeah, get vitals. Yeah, that was it. Maybe hook up an ECG.
Really?
That was it. But you wouldn't really be allowed to like touch the patient too much. Yeah.
Do you think maybe it's got to do with, wait, also before I ask this, did you guys, like when you guys went to the hospital, was it the whole batch or was it groups of 5? Or
you mean for internship?
No,
for clinics.
Both.
Okay, so for clinics it was the whole batch. So they thought that it was impractical for us to even, But for internship it was maybe even 2 of us at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. Internship could have been good. I don't know. God, I think it was a confidence thing also. The doctors didn't have that much confidence in us, and we also didn't have confidence in ourselves, right? So we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what was expected of us, and the system was just so different. In China, they type the doctors know everything, so we didn't know how to order blood, we didn't know how to take blood, it wasn't our job to take blood, there was just no room for us, so it was a thing where we always felt like we're not part of the team,
and so you're just watching
you're always watching, shadowing, and you lose interest. Sometimes you just get disheartened, you don't even go sometimes, girl. So yeah.
No, that makes sense. And also I'm thinking, because I'm trying to imagine when you guys go, let's say for your clinics, for example, and it's, let's say 20 of the Chinese students, and then like 5 of you guys, and then the patients are like overwhelmed. Like,
yes.
And then whereas with us, it was everyone there is foreign except the teachers. So sometimes they'd actually be excited, like, oh, we have all these. So it was actually the opposite of what you're saying.
But to be... Like, if I'm remembering, there's one time, right, we had a Russian colleague, so she obviously was Caucasian looking, and she came in and we were all with her, and then the patient felt like, oh my god, I must be really sick, they called in a white specialist. So it depends, like sometimes they'll be excited, sometimes they'll be freaked out.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm surprised to hear they're always happy to see you guys.
Like, okay, for the most part, it was maybe once or twice that the patients were like freaked out and didn't want to. But then even then, the doctors always managed to talk them down, and they're like, okay, maybe 2 at a time, not like the whole class.
The whole batch, right?
Yeah,
that can be overwhelming.
So with you guys that studied in Chinese, what happens when you're done? Because with us, after you've graduated, you've done your exams in Chinese and in English and everything, and then if you want to stay and do your specialization and all that, you do that, you apply for masters. With you guys, considering that you've done your exams in Chinese, do you automatically become part of the system, or what happens?
Okay, so I get to become part of the system, you have to write the state exams. They have that, which is I don't think it's open to... The last time I did my research, it wasn't open to foreigners.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did write a state exam as our GRAD exam, but it wasn't the official one that would induct you into that system.
Was it like a different one for you guys, or was it the same paper with the rest of your class, but they could then become part of the system and you guys couldn't?
No, actually it was just the model. The model was state exam. But it wasn't the same exam written, say maybe all over the country. They have an actual occasion when they all sit for the state exams.
So they also have to then go and...
Yes, so this one was just for the school to graduate. Yeah.
Alright. Okay, a lot of people kept asking me that.
So you guys can like specialize without having practiced?
Like, I don't know how, I don't want to sit here and lie to people, I don't want to lie to you guys, but what normally happens is now we're done. Like, for example, I've just finished, right? I've got my degree, and then what I then do is I apply for masters. And so what I'm doing is now, let's say I've decided to go into cardiology, I go, or if I've decided OBGY, I go to OBGY, and that's where I am. I'm doing my masters and doing my residency, and then after that, I've got my masters, I can come home as a specialist. Or I can stay and do the exam and work there as an OBGY.
Okay. What I've seen, the Chinese do that as well. Like they go straight into what they want to specialize in. And then even in the hospital as residents, obviously they're in the departments that they want to do. But I don't know if they allow that for foreigners. I haven't. Because
in my school, well, in my city, let me say, because you're no longer part of the, you know what? I know someone who did neuro, I know someone who did urology, I know someone who did cardiothoracic surgery.
That's interesting.
And I know someone who did general surgery and is actually now like a proper doctor. Then the others went back home and they practiced.
Okay, that's amazing.
So I guess, I don't know, it's a shortcut if you guys don't wanna do, you know, like
you're listening.
A lot of people do that, and I feel like maybe now with Corona and everything, and people can't really like move around, some will actually just stay and continue studying.
the only people that I knew did that were people who were not really specializing but doing masters and stuff like public health. Those are the only people that I've heard of.
No, in where we're from, like our province in general, a lot of people go back and
interesting.
and do that.
Interesting. Okay. Would you go back to China to further your studies? Very much you know now.
Putting me on the spot. Yo, if you had asked me this question like 6 months ago, I'd have said yes,
right?
Yeah. But now I don't want to
Same
lie.
with me.
I'm not. It's not on my options right now.
6 months after I graduated as well, I was heavily considering going to China. Now I'm just like,
Like, to be honest, because isn't I started in medicine and then I went to surgery. The time, those 2 rotations, I was actually looking for places for masters. I had already chosen my universities. I had already applied for you know that document that says you're gonna graduate, whatever. So you can start applying. I already got those, and I was actually ready to send out my applications. And then I don't know. I woke up one day. I was like, nah. I was like, no.
I
So
can relate.
and then with time as well, I'm not like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, not for school. I wouldn't go back to China for school. Maybe other opportunities.
Oh no, definitely. Like for shopping, business stuff.
Or if you got like a really good job offer, right? Like something out of the box. But definitely not for school. The experience that I had as a medical student wasn't the best experience I think I could have gotten. So I'll definitely prefer to go somewhere else where I think I could get something more suited.
No, I definitely agree because
obviously you don't. I wouldn't expect you to regret going to China because obviously things happen for a reason and God always has his plan. But I just want to know, do you ever sit and wish you'd gone somewhere else?
Definitely. Like I have my moments. I mean, every time when people ask me like would I go back, I always easily say I would, because I feel like the good that came out of it was more than the bad. But people don't realize the bad was really bad. And in those moments, it was enough to make me be like, why am I here? This one, did you feel competent when you came to work as a doctor straight out of uni?
Is that? What a joke. What a joke. Of course not. Like, when I came out of uni, I felt so bad that everybody was celebrating so much. My parents were so... I mean, of course, they had to be proud. I was proud because I'd survived so much. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that I was not competent. And I knew that I had a lot of work to do. I wasn't thinking like a doctor. Like, I was still giving one diagnosis, no differentials type of thing. Very, very small-minded. I wasn't thinking out of the box. I didn't have any clinical skills. I didn't know how to do an LP. I didn't know how to even like a simple continuous suture. Maybe I had a little bit of that from like surgery in China, but it still wasn't where it needed to be for somebody who's being paid to be doing what they're doing, right? I couldn't take blood. I couldn't insert a cannula. I couldn't do a VE. I don't know what I'm looking for when I'm doing a VE. I don't know what a VE stood for, because there was also language aspect as well, right?
Yes. Oh my god.
So it was a mess. It was a mess.
I didn't even consider that.
Yes, like language was a huge issue for me. Like,
you must have been miserable. Like, how did you go? But
I just felt so dumb. Like, I felt so dumb. Like, I'd sit in meetings and morning reports, and I'll just feel like everybody's just speaking a whole different language. Everything, like even like notes taking, I had never had the opportunity to do that before. Had you?
Okay, fine. For me, I feel like I could go both ways with this, because obviously before I left China, and if I had stayed in China for my internship, I would be saying the same things as you. But because I had the opportunity to come out and do my final year here, I remember my first day, I had 7 bloods, 2 cannulas, an engine tube. I can't believe you remember. Oh my god. I stood there like and the team that I was put on as well, there was no medical officer, there was no intern, it was me and the specialist. It was horrible. I didn't know how to do any of those things. I didn't even know what LP stood
This
for.
was internal med.
Yeah, and I started in internal med, so it was crazy.
But are you guys taught like how to do soap notes, how to take history?
We were taught like how to take history, and they actually, looking back, they actually emphasize it, and they'd say you have to know this, you have to know this. But you know how, like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, we, the students as well, like, we don't see the importance. Exactly.
Yes.
So I feel like there's that lack in, I don't know, there's something lacking with people that studied in Chada. Like, there's this, you know, you're supposed to know something, but you don't.
I think it's not having that free flow between hospital and the classroom, because you know, people who study in other countries, even Botswana, they're studying in the hospital. Like, you're in class today, tomorrow you're applying.
I've seen that. Yes. Even when I was doing my internship, because even like what are they called, the doctors assistant students, what are those people? Because even they're getting experience in the hospital, and they're like second years, third years, and they're doing note taking, all this stuff about diagnosis. And this is stuff you're expected to know when you come into work as a doctor. And so it was really overwhelming, honestly, when I came and I didn't know anything. And they're like, you're a final year. You don't know this, you don't know that. So I'm trying to learn this, and you're considered to be a doctor. It's like,
yeah, but I just hope people are not completely demoralized.
No, guys, don't be.
Okay. Like,
scholarships. It's I don't know how do you can you choose to say, okay, I mean, obviously you can choose to say I want to go to China and I want to learn in Chinese, but is there an option for those that are like scholarship students to say no, we want to learn in English? Because in our school, the scholarship students for MBBS were doing in Chinese, and that was the requirement.
Yes. So originally, when you get a CSC scholarship from, because usually it's distributed through like hubs, right? And the hubs are usually like your country's embassy. Like there's actually a part where you have to write the hub number, and it would be like the number of your embassy. So that's how they sort of allocate the scholarships in different countries. And the requirement, the prerequisite, is that you study your entire degree in Chinese. But okay, so first thing, if you get into the scholarship program, you do your Chinese, and then you start your medicine and you feel like you're not coping, you'd be forced to quit, and you can join English medium. It depends where you are. Sometimes they might make you start all the way from first year. Sometimes they might make you join from like, they might transfer your credits, and people have been able to do that. I've seen people who study under CSC but in English. So how they did that is that they've been already studying in English medium, paying for themselves, and then they applied maybe with a specific story or something, because I don't know if I'm allowed to share, but one of my friends, the parents basically got into an accident that then prevented them from providing and all of that. So they just applied, and then they were given the scholarship. So they were under CSC, they were getting allowance, but they still continued under the English program.
Yeah. Oh, no, that makes sense.
And there's CSC, like there's people who are studying masters under CSC in English. Masters is not very, very strict.
Yeah, because even in our school, all they do it in English. It's just the undergrad.
The undergrad is on that's specifically in Chinese.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up, because even I was confused. Okay, so the last two questions. What were the challenges of doing medicine in Chinese? I feel like we really touched on some, but I don't know if there's anything else you want to...
Okay, so language, obviously, because in as much as I had gotten to a point, I really emphasized on getting my language down, and generally I like languages, so that was a plus. But the truth is, the language that you speak on a daily basis on the street will never match. It will never match.
I was saying this in my last video with Tebo, like medical language and the language
of its own.
Because I feel like my Chinese language, like my Mandarin was okay, was actually quite good. And I got these high scores in HSK, whatever. But that meant nothing when I was in the hospital.
It takes me back to what I experienced in China. Sometimes I feel like my Chinese is on top, like I'm on top of my game, but then they'll just be speaking in this. I could hear like what they're trying to say, but it was just so deep. that you can never really, you know. So
and
that
I
was
feel like
like
especially with like the older generation.
Exactly. So that was the biggest challenge in the classroom, in the hospital. There was always that gap. Yeah, there was always that gap in terms of language. And then what else was really difficult? Just never feeling like a doctor. For a long time as a medical student, I never felt like a doctor. I know, in different universities, because the thing with me is I was in a different scholarship before China, which I quit, and then some of my colleagues that sort of stuck through with that scholarship ended up in different parts of the world. So whenever I speak to them, they were in a position to listen to symptoms and diagnose by like third year.
So they're like pretty done as
yes, where I was still completely lost. I just felt like I couldn't diagnose. I don't know what was what. I didn't even know like diseases in English. You know, it was just a mess. So that was very difficult. It was very disheartening just to even graduate without feeling like you're fully competent. I think those were the two most difficult things.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? What is the hardest thing about it, even though it was in English?
Honestly, like this thing where you feel like you know you're doing medicine, right? And you can see that in 2 years' time or in however long time, I'm supposed to have graduated and I'm supposed to know everything. And you look at, for example, I had lots of friends in the US and in the UK, and what they're doing, the language they're speaking, and what I'm doing is like, and that was very disheartening. And also the fact that I had lots of people, because then I also decided to do this YouTube channel and whatever, and lots of people like, oh, you're inspiring, oh, you're this, and I'm like,
deep in your heart, right?
I'm like,
I've never related so much.
Dude, I was like, no, guys, and people are using me as their standard for like excellence in China, and I'm like, no, because I feel like, you know. And then the last question: is there anything else you feel people should know that's never talked about before enrolling in either the English program or the Chinese program?
That's an interesting question. I think just everything we've spoken about, because everybody just wants to show the highlight reel. You know, people go to China, live a normal life, obviously in China. Nobody really struggles too much. Like, it's a good time in China. You know, people live their lives, people start businesses, they grow, they develop. It's a good travel hub. You can easily access so many parts of the world from there. And then people graduate, and people who are looking from the outside just see this beautiful timeline of events. You go to school on scholarship, you're in school, you show a few snippets of the hospital, you look like you're making it, next thing you're graduating, it all looks perfect. So I think all I can really say is behind the scenes, things are really not what they seem on the outside. There's a lot of individual studying. Literally, some courses you teach yourself from beginning to end, and even after that, you pass your exam, but you still don't understand what you've been studying. There's a lot of disconnect between lecturers and students, between the system and students. You'll get very little practical experience. Just everything we've sort of spoken about. I think we just need to emphasize that even if you do decide to go to China, even if you take the challenge, just know that it will come with all of these, but eventually you'll be okay. She's studying English. She's exceptional. I'm sure you guys know. And I've studied in Chinese, and I'm also okay. I'm working.
Nah, dude, kudos to you, bruh. Like, I don't know how you did it in Chinese. And came and you're fine as a bit, like you're doing okay. You're fine.
So pretty much there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. What do you think? Same question to you.
Basically what you said, and also I want to add on, like, I don't know if this applies to everyone in China or people in other countries as well, but there's this thing where your exam is coming. When the exam comes, you come out with like a 92%, a 99%. If we ask you anything related to that subject in 2 weeks, there's no information there. So there's that thing as well. And yeah, I also agree. There's a lot of individual learning and pushing going on behind the scenes. And I feel like you have to really know why you came there in the beginning, because you can easily get carried away doing business, partying, like lots of other things.
There's so many distractions.
And also you can get very disheartened and very discouraged and just like give up and just do the bare minimum. So you really have to keep yourself pushing, even though you might have a semester where it's like all the teachers are just useless, or I don't know, you're just not understanding anything, but you just have to keep trying, watch videos, do something, but just don't give up, because things will be fine. I feel like I'm fine now. She's almost done with her internship, and you know, she's doing great. So
it all comes together. It all comes together in the end.
I don't think I have anything else.
Let me see what my question was. What feedback would you give the MIT program on handling and helping foreign trained doctors? I think that's for you.
MIT program.
The internship program.
Oh, what's the question?
What feedback
on handling and helping? I get the question. Like, what about handling foreign graduates?
Yes.
I feel like number one, there should be. Let me not say there should be, but it would be nice if there was a bridging program. For example, those that studied in Russia, China, Ukraine, wherever they studied, Cuba, and then you're coming to Botswana, because MIT is Botswana, isn't it? There could be like a bridging program where you guys do just like the basic topics that are common here. For example, we did HIV as like a subtopic.
Did we even do HIV
subtopic? And here, HIV is a big thing. And like, you know, just the differences, 'cause we see like different diseases there in China and in other parts of the world they see different things, and here we see, you know, focusing on this, on the subject matter here, and then maybe you can also do like a practical workshop where you know, those that have never taken blood, etc., you know, just to, you know, do something, so you don't start your first day of work like overwhelmed completely.
So we did actually have that, but it was was it a week or 2 weeks? They call it the boot camp, which essentially... essentially the idea is that, but it's just too short.
And I feel like this could actually continue, like the CNEs that happen, those could be better. I don't know, they should be done better, because I feel like they do them, but it's mostly done as I need it for my signatures type of thing. If it was an actual conference or something that they can have every month or every rotation, and people actually come together, learn, teach. Those that have more experience, they teach the juniors instead of just attacking them and, you know, making them feel like they don't know anything all the time. Definitely gonna miss out on a lot of information, guys. Whether you study in Chinese or in English, you're definitely not going to be on the same level as anyone studying elsewhere. But at the same time, you also gain some knowledge that they won't have. So don't just look at the bad aspect. And I mean, there's always something you can do when you feel like you're lacking. You can watch a video online, you can, you know, read a book, you can do something, but don't just, you know, be disheartened. This is my main thing. Just don't, because I feel like this was me for a long time. At some point I was like, you know what, whatever. And so I'm always like trying to advocate, like, don't do that. Just watch videos, do something. Ask your seniors to help you or something, but don't just be like, oh, I missed out, and then blame China or blame wherever you are for that. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to have your patient. It's not going to be China who has the patient. It's your patient and your name on that patient's medical records. And so you need to do something about it.
And I think to tie into what you spoke about earlier about how, for example, in China, nobody really focuses on HIV, but it's a big thing here. I think it's very important to also just tap into what is expected of you in your country or wherever you intend to practice. Try and like liaise with people who are already working, find out what the protocols are and stuff like that, just so that you have an idea as you're studying, as you're going through your program, of what is expected of you, and you're not completely lost. But it's really just pushing yourself a little bit more, as she says, and just making sure you're not left behind too much.
I totally agree, because, you know, in my last, from like 4th year actually, I had stopped this thing where I'm reading Chinese books only for the exam. I was now like looking at my curriculum from people outside China, people in Russia, people in America, people back home, people in South Africa. You know, it was that thing where I was like, okay, guys, like I have to, by the time internship comes, I need to know something.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to, you know, make up for what I had missed. And I was reading foreign books, reading their course outlines and their handouts and their notes and all that, try to see everything. And one thing that I will say that might be a positive thing, I guess, is that when I started doing my internship here, my student internship, my electives, I realized that a lot of what was being taught here and a lot of what we used to present and all that, it's stuff we had actually done, right?
Facts.
But
yeah,
it's just that it wasn't cemented in here. It wasn't.
It's true.
It's something that probably when I was reading, I just like read over it because it was never like really emphasized. And also the teachers, okay, some teachers will you know, force you to say, they'll like instill the fear of God in you. And I felt like those courses and those like topics are the ones that I knew.
Remember, right?
Whereas everything else where the teacher just comes, teaches and goes, I see him, I read a subject, I read his topic, and I never see it again. And then I see it one day during my internship, and I'm like, oh, we actually did that, but I don't remember anything.
Like just the other day, I remember we were doing, I think it was obstructive jaundice, and there was the shortcut sign, the renal sign. I promise we did that in school, but it was just like,
you just read over
it,
and
probably I had to cram like how I can remember the 3 and the 5, and then now I'm like, oh my god, we actually did study that, just that nobody really placed so much emphasis on it.
So I feel like that's one thing that you'll definitely lack when you're studying in China, but at the same time, it should be encouraging to know that you guys are learning the same.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
But you definitely need to work.
Yeah,
you definitely need to work. Yeah. So that's all my business. That's all.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. That was very
I hope I didn't speak too much.
I hope so. Guys, if this video is long, I'm so sorry, but
it's my fault.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming. Please do subscribe to her channel. I will leave everything on the screen.
Congratulations, Natalie, on your channel. I was just like blown away.
Like it still hasn't hit. Honestly, like it hasn't hit.
But we're gonna speak about that.
Yes. So we're doing a video on her channel. So after you watch this video, or I don't know who's uploaded first, but
it's probably her. She's always on top of her game.
Yeah, but we're doing a video on her channel after this, so definitely do go and watch that. Subscribe to her channel, tell her I sent you, turn on those notifications and everything, and let's grow our YouTube family. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. Leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, we'll see you in another video soon, I hope.
Bye.
Okay. Did I skip something? What was I going to say?
Yeah, we're talking about
clinics.
Yeah.
I was about to say something. Oh my god.
English.
Oh, okay.
Did it stop? No.
I don't know. It's cut off. Okay. Why? Okay. Huh? Why did you cut it off?
It was just hanging and I just.
I don't know why about the sniffles. Corona. Girl. Would you, I don't know, kind of like compare the practical teaching that you got with your group in comparison to back home or with the rest of the world?